Hey guys, this is actually the third time that I'm trying to do this session. I've done it in English previously, but let's just fucking go. Um, Actually, this session came to be because I had a discussion a few weeks ago with someone regarding the fact that once we sell a specific product to a customer, we hardly ever follow up with them. It's more of a push communication rather than going into a dialogue with our customers. So for that point, I actually created a small sales presentation on how sales automation can be used to improve that customer intimacy. But for now, let's perhaps start. So I created three little cases, one being lead nurturing, the second one, what I was talking about, customer lifecycle marketing, and third is like a small little sequence on how you can actually get your customers to maintain their own data. So let's get started. The first one is, of course, the lead nurturing sequence. And based by what I mean by that is handling non-sales ready opportunities. But before we get into the actual sequence itself, I want to ask the question towards you guys, like, what is a lead? What is an opportunity? For me, a lead is, I'm a Salesforce fanboy, so I'm allowed to say this, it's a transitory object. Like, if someone enters the lead queue, that's what it's called inside the Salesforce, the lead queue, you'll see that when they come in, either you have a garbage lead, which you reject, of course, but then you have to do a validation. And I think that once someone becomes a lead, there's only a few things that you can verify. So if you use BENT as a qualification criteria, you can't filter out budget. You cannot filter out the authority because it's often not the person submitting for a lead that's actually going to buy the solution. More often than not, it's the one gathering information because some manager asked them to get some insight on a specific technology for project X or Y or whatever, or it's a specific the content that they, for example, download inside of a lead gen constellation might just be indicative of a specific pain that they feel with their current solution. So you can basically only define a lead as someone who feels a need, and then what is necessary or what is important to convert them into a contact is to define whether or not they fit your ideal customer profile. Meaning, are they the right type of company? Are they if it's a specific vertical, are they downloading, reading, submitting a request in regards to something that we actually couple onto that vertical? Yeah, so just to identify, like, is this a good fit or not? Is this the right company size? Is this someone that we can help, rather or not? So from that point on, I have a lot of discussions with sales managers saying, well, we don't convert leads when they're not a concrete opportunity. When we cannot go there next day to go and sell them, we basically disqualify the lead because it's a bad lead. No. What it is it is a bad opportunity, or it is not a sales ready opportunity, meaning that while the need might be there, you might not be speaking to the right person. You need to gather more insights to create a better buying committee to actually present your solution to. In regards of timing, perhaps they're reading up on information that they only want to use like a year later because they're going to implement a new data center or something, imagine. So what is in fact our goal? Our goal is to have those prospects that have indicated they feel a specific need through lead or demand gen to pass on into the contact role, into an account, so that we have visibility on them, that we can consolidate all the data that we gather on them, and then we have to nurture them towards a sales qualified opportunity. Now, as a Salesforce fanboy, I can actually say that I presented a little demo. So basically what you will do is you will verify, is this ICP a fit? Is it an A, B, C tier fit? For the rest, do they contain all the necessary details? So is it the right company size, etc., etc. I had a call with them. Okay, they fit, but they are not sales ready yet. Okay, so what do I do? I convert the lead into a contact. If the account doesn't exist, I create a new account. I create a new contact. In this case, I wouldn't create an opportunity because there's not anything there yet. So it's a very high level conversion. Let's say that they were not ready to actually create that lead yet. But what do I do then? Like, if I want to bring someone into that fold, if I want to make sure that we don't forget about them, well, there's the easy way that you can actually match campaigns within Salesforce to any marketing automation platform, basically, and then just drop them into a lead nurturing sequence for product X, Y, or Z with a specific status. And whenever that status changes, because you can also set triggers to update that status, you can actually create new tasks for your salesperson. There we go. So, what is the goal of nurturing? Basically, it's to stay top of mind, to expand the data that we have on specific target accounts, such as new contacts, what their roles are, and so on and so on, to educate customers on our solution, and to actually drive customer intimacy. So, what is actually the best practice then, if you want to stay in touch with your customers and you want to drive that engagement? Well, it's basically combining a number of sales and marketing touches. Like, as a salesperson, you can ask, like, who is your CMO? Who's your chief revenue officer? Your COO, your CEO? You can actually gather all of those people that are relevant to them. You can throw them inside of a contact onboarding workflow. Then you can, for example, invite them into saying, okay, we're having an event. Do you guys want to come? You layer that over with a marketing touch, promoting the event, promoting the speakers. If you have some basic data gathered around your prospects, such as this person likes golf, for example, say, hey, did you see the PGA Tour? I'm just giving a random example, but just to show you guys that combining those sales and marketing touches gives you all the more opportunities to actually get in front of the customer, to open that dialogue again, to actually make sure that at a certain point in time, when you become relevant, you'll actually be top of mind. Now, of course, that won't always work. And I don't think that it makes sense for salespeople, even though it is automated. Imagine that you're sending out event invites and people are saying like, yeah, I really would like to come, but I really can't. And they say that for 4 events that you've invited them to, it's not really that important to keep inviting them or to spend your time as a salesperson on those type of profiles. But what you would do, for example, is craft a no response sequence, making another sequence that is more marketing touches than sales touches to actually shift those off. If someone engages with a specific product or something in that story, why would you not explore a specific product? So if you go into a little bit more detail, imagine that I have a technology product, let's say, they've engaged with a specific use case, for example. I might send them other use cases that might seem relevant to their industry, or so on and so on and so on. Combined with that, if you have a less transactional promotional sequence, a less transactional product, let's say, you can also engage with promo codes, offers, stuff like that. And let's not forget like the basics, like birthday touches. If you've been in touch with someone for, let's say, 14 days prior to a major holiday like Easter, for example, you might say, hey, I was just thinking about our deal. Just thought I'd send you a note on it's almost Easter. I hope you guys have a nice little holiday there. Talk soon about X. It's all of these opportunities that you can use to actually stay in touch with the people that are relevant to you. So I'm sorry, I'm going through this a little bit fast. As I said, it's already the 3rd time that I'm trying this, so bear with me. So basically, the customer lifecycle marketing, which is the most important thing, and the reason that I actually put this thing together, is the question of what happens after the prospect or after the customer buys for the first time. So, hey, yay, they bought. Now what? Well, there is such a thing as the perfect customer. I've actually worked with how should I say this, a company that sells specific employee benefits. And imagine that you buy benefit A, you might buy benefit B, C, D, E. So there is such a thing as the perfect customer. In their case, as an example, it's the one who has all of their products, who's happy, so they have a positive NPS score, and those who you serve profitably, by which I mean that customers are always happy when they have to pay nearly nothing, and you want to make sure that you're actually making money on each customer. So the question then becomes, what is that customer lifecycle marketing thing? Well, it's actually the process that you use to transform a first-time buyer into that perfect customer. So imagine, just as an example, it's much more complicated and intricate than this, but imagine that there's a first purchase. The customer says, well, I've been 90% satisfied with our collaboration as thus far. So what we do is we capture that feedback, we do a customer success team touch, they're now satisfied, we invite them into, imagine that we want to create new products and we want to involve our customers. Those are actually much less likely to churn because you've involved them into building something with the company, and so on and so on. You define them as ready for a specific upsell. You suggest the upsell. They say, well, it seems very interesting, but we're not actually going to do anything with that right now. Okay, that's always a possibility. We invite them to an event. They come to our event. We book another customer meeting just to see, okay, what are your strategic objectives? How are you guys trying to, how should I say this? How are you guys trying to reach your goals? How do we fit into that story? How can we help you reach those goals? And then we identify a new customer need and try to upsell them again. So basically, if you think about it, it's very important to just have a number of layers into your communication strategy, meaning that you will have customer success just to show the customer that you care. Sales will provide both relationships and offer touches, so meaning that you will try to get the customer engaged in what you are doing as a company or in a one-to-one relationship on a key account level, let's say, and also provide them with regular offers on what they could do, how they can expand, and how you can help them grow. As a marketing team, I'm a huge believer in creating customer communities, like getting your customer to engage with you as a company in ways besides your product. Meaning that if you can, for example, if you are the benefit provider, as I was just explaining, you could actually create, if your buyer is the HR buyer, you can also do stuff around employer branding, employer retention, stuff like that actually. And then you can probably define a number of content items that you can use to actually get that customer intimacy going and to actually draw people closer to you, do more work together, and then, of course, as a trusted partner, sell them more of your product. Speaking about that product, which is also a great thing, I've already spoken about it before, is that you can go into a co-creation process with your customer and actually make them stand all that more closer to the product. And perhaps you've noticed the second that you start building with someone in a team on a project, for example, you will always see that you are much more engaged, that you believe much more in the thing that you've created, and thus you're far less likely to actually churn out of the product going forward. And then finally going about churn, because what we spoke before was about prospecting. This is more of a bit of the in-life cycle, I'll say. What happens after? I'm actually amazed at the amount of companies that don't have a strategy for what happens after a customer churns. Like if you have that customer relationship, and that's a prerequisite of course, but once you have that, it's actually pretty easy to go and speak to your customers 3 months after they churned or a year after and just say like, we kind of miss you. Well, we don't miss you, but we miss that you've been with us. We always had a good relationship. I do understand why you went with a competitor X, Y, or Z, but we really want to bring you back. And to actually automate all of these little touches, which you can perfectly do, it would drive all that more inbound towards your sales team, because I see a lot of people only focus on prospecting and on pushing new product onto their customers, but they can recuperate so much from ex-customers if they just put in the effort. Well, at least that's my sentiment. So what is the goal of this entire sequence? It's actually to create that customer intimacy, reduce the possibility of churn, to involve customers in the day-to-day of our company, and to actually consistently and automatically offer new products. Yes, I'm reading from my slides, and you'll have to forgive me for that, but as I said, third time. And then finally, and I think that's the most important thing for being able to do all of the things that we just discussed in a correct kind of way, making sure that it works, is, well, the data quality inside of your CRM. Did you know that 22.5% of your database decays on a yearly basis? So that means that every day of the week, every week of the year, your database decays. And let's be honest, nobody really wants to update their contacts until, well, they're forced to do so. It's not that we have a proactive kind of system in place that gets in touch with our customers, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the question then becomes, how do we fix one of these data quality issues? Well, easily we do we get the customer to do data maintenance for us. So it all starts with our customer onboarding. And we want to imagine that you're a first-time customer. We want you to tell us who are our relevant contacts, like for billing, invoicing, users. We want to know who they are, what titles do they have, and most importantly, if we have a list of contacts available, what role do they fulfill in the relationships towards us as a vendor. Once we have those data, or we have that data rather available to us, we want to be able to reach out to them. We want to gather their consent. We want to know what their preferences are. And by preferences, I mean, like, do you want to be invited to events? Do we give you product information updates? So it's a little bit related to the role that they have in relationship to us as a vendor. But lastly, most importantly, probably, is also what are they interested in? I gave the example just a few minutes ago about an HR buyer or an HR team as a customer. Are they interested in things like customer employee retention? Are they involved in employer branding? Are they involved in putting together salary packages, for example? All of those interests are, for us, again, topics that we can actually work on to create content for and to actually be able to nurture those contacts automatically, get their interest, pull them back to us, and create a better and more intimate way of working with our customers. So basically, how do we do this operationally is you ask them the question and you just go like, we're happy to have you as a customer. To get a better overview of who does what at company name, we've created this little form to gather some basic details. Once you've filled it out, we'll finalize the onboarding for you and any other relevant contacts. You just link out the form. As the account manager, you send it out, and that's basically it. So what happens after that email? Well, the form will capture new contacts. It will send out an email towards those new contacts and drop them into that same onboarding flow. And that onboarding flow will, well, basically do the same thing. So it will gather that consent, those interests, and based on those interests, you can actually drop, I apparently make it a typo, but it's a nurture flow, of course. You will actually drop those new contacts inside of a nurture flow to make sure that people are actually getting information, details that they want, and that you, how should I say, that the company is no surprise in their inbox. And after that, it's basically easy. Every time that you get a customer call, you want to ask them for an update. You will send them the same request. You will just have a listing of all of the contacts, their roles within the company. And then they will say, oh, but Dana at accounting, for example, she left. Her job is now done by Eric. Every time they will get dropped into that same onboarding flow. And basically, it just works like that. So every 6 months, basically, you will send them an email. At every point of an interaction with a customer, you will send them the email. Whenever a trigger event happens, I shouldn't probably tell you this, but in LinkedIn, you know that you can add people to a list in Sales Navigator. The second that they do a job change, you will get an alert for it. Those data you can actually just pull off through a scraping algorithm and just push them into your CRM as a change or an update alert that triggers this workflow to actually flag all of the contacts within the specific account and saying, hey guys, we checked and apparently Dana is no longer working with you in accounting. Could you guys please update the contacts within your account, let's say. Same goes, of course, for strong changes within our accounts. So if there is a change in territory, meaning that you get assigned a new account manager, all of those little changes within our data system, let's say, are very much a driving factor for getting that customer to update their own data. Well, that's basically it. As I said, it's the third time that I've tried to do this. I hope that it goes through now or that I'm at least live. But if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. You can always drop inside of my my DMs. And I hope that this was interesting. Thanks, guys. Bye.